What's the meaning of this? Ti Quan Min, wearing mismatched pants, one leg long, one short, looked visibly uncomfortable and muttered, "Do they think we're garbage or something?" Kwang Hong Nia reached out to feel the fabric of the clothes, then glanced around at everyone's outfits. His expression suddenly changed, and he spoke urgently. "This is bad. Someone's trying to use me as a substitute." Hua Tuc immediately caught on. "You mean, the people in this house want me to take the fall for them?" Kwang Hong Nia nodded grimly, his eyes sharp as he looked outside, lowering his voice. "Damn it, if I'd known earlier, I would have done something. They're trying to use me as a blessing guest." Already frightened, Ti Quan Min began to tremble even more. His voice stuttered. "What are you guys talking about? Can you explain a bit more clearly?" Ignoring him, Kwang Hong Nia turned to the others. "Do you all remember what was written in the invitation?" Duong Chu replied. "Fong Manor invited us here to preside over a ritual. They didn't give details, just said we'd be handsomely rewarded after it's done." "Damn it!" Kwang Hong Nia took a deep breath to calm himself and explained, "A blessing guest, also known as a gratitude guest, sounds nice, but in reality, it means disaster blocker. Common folks call it a substitute, someone hired by a family to absorb misfortune or ward off bad luck. But not just anyone can be chosen as a substitute. The more deformed, disabled, or unlucky you are, the better, because they need someone with a heavy, cursed fate to suppress unclean things. The substitute guards the gate of heaven. This is a profession associated with the underworld. People in this line of work are fearless. They dig up graves, steal corpses in the dead of night, smash coffins. In short, they make a living off the dead. Normally, when a family experiences misfortune or is plagued by something unclean, they'll invite a substitute to investigate. For minor cases, a quick glance and a few curses, maybe knocking on the door with a butcher's knife, will do. But if it's something more serious, the substitute has to wear the homeowner's clothes, pretend to be a family member, and live in the house like one of them. That way, the evil spirits mistake them for real members of the household and transfer all resentment onto them. Even so, very few dare to take on such a task. Substitutes know their limits. What good is money if you can't live to spend it? After Kwang Hong Nia's explanation, and seeing the strange clothes they were now wearing, everyone understood. The Fong family had brought them here as sacrificial substitutes. Din Din trembled, face pale, unable to stay on her feet. She burst into tears, sobbing, If we'd known earlier, we wouldn't have put these clothes on. I would have run. Is it too late to escape now?" Su Dai Luke shook his head, voice low. "It's not that simple. If we don't wear the clothes, the quest won't trigger, and we'll never find a clue to escape this place." Each outfit had a birth date written on it. Everyone checked, and soon discovered that the dates corresponded to 3 different generations of a large family. Su Dai Luke was wearing clothes belonging to the eldest generation, likely the old patriarch of the Fong family. Kwang Hong Nia's outfit matched the middle generation. Then came Jung Tu, Kalong, and Ti Quan Min, 3rd generation, clearly the sons of the middle generation man. Finally, there were Hua Tuc and Din Din, also categorized as part of the 3rd generation. But Kwang Hong Nia found this puzzling. Back in the day, women had low status. There's no way they'd be considered part of the 3rd generation in the family, even if they were daughters-in-law. It's not them, it's the babies they're carrying. Jung Tu suddenly spoke up. Both of them are pregnant, but haven't given birth yet. Kwang Hong Nia froze, then nodded vigorously. Yes, that's the only explanation that makes sense. Now, the mission was clear. They had become substitutes, brought into the Fong household to act as shields for a 7-member family. Damn it, I don't mind playing substitute, but couldn't they at least give us proper clothes? These pants. One long, one short. How the hell are we supposed to run if something really happens? Kalong grumbled as he tugged at the hem of his pants, trying to feel less ridiculous. Not that simple, someone muttered. Substitutes follow their own rules. They're not just here to block misfortune. They're also supposed to absorb the energy of the homeowner. The longer they stay in the house, the more they're mistaken for the real family. Eventually, even they start to believe they are. That's why the clothes have to look bizarre. So they'll remember, they're not the real family. These ridiculous outfits are a warning. You are just a substitute, lured here by money, a lowly pawn, and nothing more. Damn these exploitative landlords. Kalong cursed. What's that got to do with capitalism? You wanted money, wanted to survive. No one forced you to come. Hua Tuc shot back. By now, it was clear everyone was gradually accepting their role as substitutes. Ti Quan-min and Ta Din Din had also changed. One wore sleeves that dragged along the ground. The other a dress missing an entire hem. They all looked both comical and grotesque. One incense stick's time passed, but everything outside remained quiet. The sky was beginning to dim. It seemed the head of the Fong household had no intention of appearing. They recalled what the old woman said. The second young master of the Fong family had died. That white lantern hanging at the gate was definitely for his memorial. The group stepped outside, only to run into a team of burly guards wielding wooden clubs. But the moment they learned the group were blessing guests, the guards instantly looked awkward, avoiding eye contact and shoving each other aside. One of them finally said they'd send someone else to lead the way. At that moment, a dark-skinned maid passed by. The head guard barked at her to stop and forced her to guide the group to the gloomy inner courtyard. The maid reacted just like the guards, absolutely unwilling. But after a glare and some threatening words, she reluctantly agreed. The head guard shoved a small lantern into her hand, saying with meaning, "Go quickly and come back quickly. It's getting dark." Upon hearing that, the maid didn't dare linger. She rushed ahead, leading them deeper into the estate. Though she walked quickly, the path only grew more desolate and winding. As they passed a rundown side yard, Duong Chu suddenly felt a strange sense of familiarity. The blue stone pavement, the patchy brick wall beside it, and beneath that wall, not far away, was an old stone well, sealed shut with a massive, heavy slab. Duong Chu only needed a glance to recognize it. This well was the same one he had seen at the ruins of the old flour mill. Back then, its mouth was sealed with a stone slab engraved with the hand of the Bodhisattva. "Wait!" Kwang Hong Nia immediately called out to the maid leading them, stopping her. It was clear he had also recognized the well. He frowned and asked, "That well looks perfectly intact. Why is it sealed shut?" The maid froze. Fear was written all over her face. She even turned her head away, not daring to look directly at the well. "Don't ask me. I'm just a servant. I don't know anything." The moment she finished speaking, she didn't wait for any reaction. Instead, she quickened her pace, walking faster and faster. The maid looked about 15 or 16 years old, small in stature, plain in appearance. Likely a low-ranking servant tasked with heavy labor in the courtyard. Not long after, the group was led to a quiet, secluded villa. As soon as they stepped through the gate, their eyes lit up. On the west side of the courtyard was a large pond, its surface gently rippling, reflecting faint glimmers of light. Looking closely, it was living water flowing slowly and naturally. "This is a natural lake, not man-made. The Fong family just renovated it a little," Su Dai Luke remarked, gazing across the pond. "This is living water." The maid showed no interest in their discussion. It was nearly dark and she'd have to return alone. She was clearly growing more anxious. "Honored guests," she urged. "You've traveled far and must be tired. Please rest now. Your residence is just over there." Everyone looked in the direction she pointed. By the pond stood two tiled roof houses, one large and one small. They were old in style, with whitewashed walls and black tiles, half hidden among the shaded trees. Duong Chu immediately recalled the 3 location cards from the script. The first was the Fong family's main estate on the old street. The second was this twin house setup. Earlier, the head guard mentioned that the accommodations here are simple and a bit cramped. "We hope you'll understand. Each group will stay in one building, the larger group in the bigger house, the smaller in the smaller one. Food and wine have already been prepared inside." With that said, it was as if a burden had been lifted from the maid's shoulders. She turned and ran off immediately, but after only a few steps, she suddenly paused, glanced back at them with a strange look, hesitated a moment, then spoke. "Honored guests, this inner courtyard is rarely visited. At night, if there's nothing urgent, don't go out, and make sure to keep your windows shut. Even if you hear or see something, don't get curious." What do you mean by that?" Ti Quan-min called out, tense. "Can you explain clearly before you leave?" But the maid gave no reply. She took off running, her figure disappearing into the evening light without ever looking back. Night was falling. Staying in such an isolated, unfamiliar place was clearly not a good idea. If something were to happen, even if they screamed at the top of their lungs, there might be no one around to help. More importantly, this place felt deeply strange to Duong Tu, a feeling he couldn't quite put into words. Then, after a while, he realized what it was. It was too quiet. Not just silent of people, but devoid of all sound. No birds. No insects. The wide pond before them was eerily still. No waterfowl, not even a single fish disturbing the surface. It was as if this wasn't water, but a dead pool. Let's go inside first. We'll deal with whatever comes tomorrow. As long as we stay cautious, we'll be fine. Kwang Hong Nia had now naturally assumed the role of temporary leader. Following the crushed stone path, the group of 4 entered the so-called elegant residence. In truth, it was just a slightly more spacious room. In the center stood a square redwood table, polished and elegant, surrounded by several high-backed chairs. On either side of the room were 2 carved wooden beds with curtains hanging down. Near the window stood a writing desk, complete with brush, ink, and paper. The room was simple but, combined with 2 tall bookshelves and a few finely crafted porcelain and stone decorations, it exuded a quiet and scholarly charm. Opening the window, one could see the golden shimmer of the pond outside. It was easy to imagine a noble resident coming here to spend a few days, reading, painting, and enjoying a peaceful retreat. On the redwood table sat 2 large food boxes. Inside were several finely made dishes. After a day of travel, everyone was hungry. Seeing Kwang Hong Nia and Hua Tuc already using chopsticks, Duong Chu and Din Din quickly joined in. Once they were full, the sky had grown completely dark. The group sat around the table, lighting the candles in the room. But before they could discuss their next plan, suddenly, the sound of hurried footsteps echoed from outside, as if someone was running toward them. Listening closely, it wasn't just one person. "Is it the second household coming to see us?" Din Din asked nervously. Kwang Hong Nia immediately blew out the candles on the table, and then snuffed out the one by the window. The group crept silently to the door, holding their breath, peeking through the cracks. In the dim courtyard light, they could see a group approaching from a distance, moving in clumps in a strange and eerie way. As they got closer, Duong Chu squinted and realized they weren't grouped up. Each person was carrying a colorful paper figure. Held in the arms of the living, the paper figures fluttered with the pace of movement. From afar, it looked like a procession of paper people hovering across the ground. Leading the group was a man carrying a lantern. Behind him were 3 living men, all dressed as servants of the estate. 2 carried paper figures in their arms. Each also had a paper figure strapped to their back. 3 men, 7 paper people. The paper figures wore dark red robes, pink hats, and pink shoes. Their faces were deathly pale, grotesquely painted, with no pupils in their eyes. An aura of death hung thick around them. The group passed silently in front of the residence, not even glancing over, and turned toward the pond. Soon after, they arranged the paper people in a straight line by the water. Each figure's arms were stretched forward, palms down. The ones behind placed their hands on the shoulders of the ones in front, all facing the lake. "Paper people, with arms on each other's shoulders?" Kwang Hong Nia muttered, frowning. None of the 3 men said a word. The one with the lantern, likely the head instructor, lit a bundle of joss paper, tossing it into the air. In the flickering firelight, Duong Chu could see the man's face clearly. He was elderly, with a hooked nose, catfish whiskers, thin lips, and deep-set eyes. His whole appearance radiated cunning and malice. Even his clothing was finer than the other servants. Once the joss paper burned out, all 3 men knelt and bowed deeply toward the lake. Then, the hook-nosed man pulled something from his pocket, muttered a spell under his breath, and slammed it onto one of the paper figures' faces.